Okay, class, in the last PowerPoint, which was Reproductive Physiology 3, General Reproductive Physiology 3, we ended with the discussion of inhibin. Inhibin is produced by the Sertoli cells in the testes, also called the nursing cells, and the granulosa cells of the ovary. And what it does is it inhibits FSH, but not LH. So in addition to LH, in addition to estrogen and progesterone inhibiting the pituitary, FSH and LH, and inhibiting the hypothalamus, gonadotropin releasing factor, inhibin also will inhibit secretion of FSH, but not LH. Okay? And it is a polypeptide. It is not a steroid like estrogen and progesterone. Going a little further. The secretion of gonadotropin releasing hormone is pulsatile. There are many reasons for the pulsatile. One thing is to not cause desensitization of the organs that utilize the gonadotropin releasing hormone, which are the ovaries and the testes. So this pulsatile. It is more apparent in females than males, but it is present in both, but it's more apparent in females than males. Of course, males keep a constant level of their FSH and LH, whereas females have a cyclical nature, the menstrual period and other things we'll talk about. So frequency of pulsations affect the target organ's response. There's another substance called the kisspeptins, which are produced from neurons in the hypothalamus. Okay? And these kisspeptins assist in the cyclical nature of the female reproductive nature, the ovarian cycle and uterine cycle. But in males, you don't have this because I said the FSH and LH, they are fairly constant. And so the kisspeptins are suppressed by the androgens in the male. And that's what keeps the kisspeptins not causing the male to have the cyclical nature. Okay? So here we are with the diagram. Here are the gonads producing the sex steroids, estrogen and progesterone, which can inhibit the anterior pituitary and hypothalamus. The inhibin, which is produced by the granulosa cells in the female and the Sertoli cells in the male, can inhibit FSH but not LH, okay, which we just mentioned. All right. The secretion of LH are elevated at birth and stay high for the first 6 months. This declines almost nothing until puberty. Puberty begins with a release of LH. So the key point here is LH, luteinizing hormone, is really the thing responsible for puberty. This appears to be due to a decline in sensitivity of the hypothalamus to negative feedback. But the major aspect we find is that in the human, it appears that the neurotransmitter GABA seems to be an important aspect preventing this puberty. So again, as I say, the puberty begins because of the decreased action of gamma-aminobutyric acid, which is a neurotransmitter, and that seems to be what's inhibiting the pituitary from secreting the LH. For some reason, the sensitivity to the GABA goes down, and that releases the pituitary from that effect to produce that. Now, the other thing is it appears that the kisspeptins. So another thing, and not only that, but, I'll do this, but action of the kisspeptins. Seems to also be, so two things, the kisspeptins in the female, mainly, and the GABA decrease seem to do the puberty, cause the puberty. Now what this does is, when puberty occurs, there is an increase in testosterone in the male and an increase in a strong estradiol 17 beta estradiol in the female, which seem to initiate the puberty. These hormones produce the secondary sex characteristics. Okay, so two things: the kisspeptins that we spoke of, the kisspeptins action, particularly in the female, and the GABA, the decrease in sensitization to the GABA, seem to be the actions that do this. Okay? All right. So we will go a little further now. Go a little further. So the secondary sex characteristics in girls would be due to this 17 beta estradiol, breast development menarche. Now, breast development, here's a term that I'm going to introduce, is called thelarchy. Thelarchy. Menarche is the first menstrual period. Then another deal that I'll mention is adrenarchy, is when in the male and female the hair pattern, the sexual genitalia hair patterns develop. In boys, growth spurt, muscle mass, penis, testes growth, body hair stimulated by androgens, and that's what, and I'm going to put this term down here, adrenarchy. This term adrenarchy, where the term is coming from, that the androgens are being secreted by the adrenal gland, the zona reticularis, and that seems to be to give the hair pattern that you would see in both sexes in the genitalia area. Okay. All right. Let's go a step further here. Let's go a step further. Let everything get going. All right. So the puberty, the GABA, and the kisspeptins. So now growth is a function of sex and age. Here's the male. Here's the female that you have, as far as that you have, because this growth spurt also stimulates the chondrocytes in the epiphyseal plate for the growth and muscle mass and so forth like that. Okay. So we go a little further. Here's a table to show what the characteristics will be. Okay. So I go a little further. Age of onset of puberty. Age of onset depends on activity levels and the amount of body fat. Leptin is a hormone secreted by fat tissue. It is very important in development, particularly in the female. So a female needs a certain amount of body fat in order to stimulate this puberty. Now, women that exercise a lot generally have less body fat, and so their puberty is somewhat delayed in many cases. So the more active, the slimmer the female with less adipose tissue, the puberty seems to be delayed. Now I'm going to go a step further. If a woman starts losing tremendous amounts of weight, fat tissue, the leptin decreases, and even if she's an adult, she could undergo amenorrhea, which means she will stop having menstrual periods. Okay. Melatonin from the pineal gland may play a role, but we don't really know. Melatonin is produced by the pineal gland. It helps with sleep. In lower forms of animals, it has photoreceptors in the pineal gland. We don't have that in humans, but it does seem to be responsive to light coming from the optic tract, and there's more melatonin produced at night than there is in the day. What role it has in puberty, we are not completely sure of. Okay. Now, the human sexual response, Masters and Johnson were researchers that did a lot with this. So you have really the excitation phase. That's where the clitoris will start to enlarge or the penis will start to enlarge. The person gets excited. The plateau will occur when the clitoris will start to be covered over and regress because of the engorgement of the labia minora, and also the nipples in the female will become, because of the whole engorgement of that, so they'll kind of decrease. They'll still be firm. Penis, of course, would get congested and an erection would occur. That's in the plateau phase. The orgasm, of course, is the release of sperm from the male, or the attempt to release sperm from the male, should I say, and secretions that would occur in the female. Then resolution will occur when the body returns to its pre-excitation. Then men experience a refractory period where they are not able to ejaculate again. Women don't have this. Okay, go back to this one. Make sure I captured everything. Okay, nothing there. All right. Now we're to the male reproductive system, and I'm going to end this one here so we can start a new one to discuss the male reproductive system.